My name is Mark Julian, and I am a writer and illustrator living in Toronto, Canada. In 2006, I lost my father due to complications brought about by his fight with Alzheimer's disease. I loved my father very much and watched in horror as his disease robbed him of his speech, memories, and sense of self. During my father's 10-year battle with the disease, I also watched my mother and my siblings become his amazing caregivers, while I, living in another city, only got home to see him when I could. I will be forever grateful to my family for being the caregivers I wasn't able to be. While my dad fought to keep his memories, I was fighting my own battle, coming to terms with my sexuality. Though I was able to share with the other members of my family who I really was, by the time I was ready to come out to my dad, he was no longer able to understand me. Just before he died, I tried to tell him about my life, that I was in a relationship with a wonderful man, now my husband, and most importantly, that he didn't have to worry about me being alone anymore. I liked to pretend that part of him understood what I was saying, but in reality, I know that my father died without ever truly knowing who his son was. Growing up in a small town, in a blue-collar Roman Catholic family, being gay was not an option for me. Being gay was wrong and sinful and something to be ashamed of. For a long time, that shame kept me from living my life in truth. It kept me from doing the things I needed to do in order to be happy. It kept me alone, sad, and afraid. That shame also kept me from telling my dad who I truly am. It is my hope that my book will eliminate that shame in others and allow them to have the transformative conversations that my father and I never got to have. You see, in 2007, regretting my inability to confide in my dad, I decided to try and reach him in another way. Dedicating it to my father, I began to write a graphic novel that would explain to him, and other parents like him, what the experience of living in the closet is like. The name of my graphic novel is Just in Case in the Closet Monster, and I like to think of it as the conversation that I wish I would have had the courage to have had with my dad. My book explores my love of mythology and fantasy. It speaks of my Catholic faith. It is irreverent, witty, and poignant, and I hope teaches those like me to love and accept themselves for who they are. At its heart, Just in Case in the Closet Monster is the story about two gay men, Justin and Peter, who try to come to terms with who they are. Each man, coming from a different background, has closed the door on the possibility that he might be gay and made a pact with himself to never open it. Luckily for these men, members of the Closet Monsters Guild, a legion of magical creatures that reside in a parallel dimension and are assigned to every gay, boy, and lesbian girl at birth, are about to come along and open that door from the other side. For 9 years I have worked on this graphic novel. There were periods when I doubted the relevance of such a project, even giving it up to pursue a career as a high school art teacher. 4 years as a high school teacher, though, soon taught me that my little story is still indeed important. All of the things that I had dealt with growing up, all of the bullying and isolation that I had endured was still happening and indeed still a problem for many vulnerable and underserviced students. I thought the days of being taunted in the schoolyard were over, that the days of being called a faggot in the locker room were dead. But unfortunately, those days are still thriving and very much alive. In 2018, I ran a successful Kickstarter campaign in order to self-publish my book. Like any creator, I long for my story to be experienced and its message received by as many people as possible. I believe that my book belongs in every high school library. It belongs in every health class. Because students out there, like me, don't hear enough stories about what it's like to be gay, about what it's like to be different. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn more about me and my graphic novel. If I have piqued your interest, and I hope that I have, please click the link below to purchase a digital or soft cover of my book. Please help me get the message out about my book by liking and sharing this with your friends. If you would like to learn more about me or my story, please check out my website at justincaseintheclosetmonster.com.